Hello all. Today is the 16th of February, 2024. Hope you're all well. Today my goals are pretty modest. It's a little afternoon on today, Friday. Supposed to get snow tonight into the morning, so I probably won't have much opportunity to do much with my car this weekend after today, which I'm a little bummed out about, but it forces me to rest my body some more, and that's fine. Um, I have enough material, like I said in yesterday's video, to do one rear wheel as far as putting it all back together. So I'm going to start with that. Probably do the right rear wheel because it's more in the sunshine, get a little more warmth that way. Um, Something else I just recently purchased too from Rock Auto. The other day when I had the car running, a couple days ago, the last time I exercised all the windows, and the left rear window that I had repaired earlier or last summer by putting a new gear in it, it was stuck. I got it unstuck by slamming the door a few times, but the motor's obviously worn out. So I bought a refurbished one, and it is a Ford Motor Company refurbished motor. Even though it was on Rock Auto, they did a nice job. It's nice and clean. This part of the motor is a little shorter than the original, but I don't think that makes any difference. So I won't be installing that anytime soon, though, because that'll go into my replacement door that I also bought last summer. So when I get around to replacing that left rear door with the replacement door, I'll put that new motor in at that point. And that's about it. Oh, yeah. Also today, I am going to attempt, in fact, I'll probably start with that instead. I'll put that other choke on and play with that for a little while, see if I can get that working. So we'll start there. All right, folks, I have now reinstalled my second choke, the one I bought from Mike's Carburetor. This one has an index mark on it, and the instructions say to put it right in the middle, so that's where it's at. So the choke plate is actually slightly closed, which I didn't even expect that much, but this is how it's lined up right now. I got my wires hooked in. I've got this special sensor ground wire hooked into the sensor over there that I mounted the other day. And we'll see what happens when I hit the accelerator, see if the choke plate closes. Nope, it doesn't. It's slightly closed, but it won't close all the way unless I push it like that, which I shouldn't have to do. So I guess I could start it up. I have to hook my fuel supply back up and do all that again and just see what it does. I guess if I want to run the test properly, I got to do that much. So let me start her up, see what happens. Wait a minute, I'm not going to start it. I'm just going to turn the ignition to the on position and see. Well, I guess that doesn't really work either because the sensor is designed to sense heat. I don't even understand how all that works, but I'm going to apply power anyway. I'm just curious to see if this thing even does anything when I turn the key to the on position without starting it. Something might be happening. I just brought my little tester here to see if there's power here. Yep, there's definitely power there, so I just wanted to double check. It looks like it might actually be opening a little bit. And I'm not really sure. I'm going to go ahead and start it up now. It'll take me a little bit of cranking because, again, the car's been disconnected from fuel, so the fuel pump's going to have to prime again. So let's get going on that. Come on, baby. There she goes. It was harder to start today. I wonder if I flooded it. There we go. Adjust that fast idle cam speed, I know that. Don't dial me. Ah. Want to see that choke operating? Oh, it opened up all the way. Ah. I'm looking at these flex pipes, I guess they really don't work too well. I see all kinds of water dripping out right here at this connection. Still water coming out here. I don't know if it's the flange or the flex pipes or both, but that's disappointing. I guess you really can't get away with without doing some welding on the exhaust. Either that or I had the complete OE design that just bolted together at the flanges. But anyway, let's see how that choke's doing. That looks like it's trying to close to me, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it's doing actually. I really don't think it's working like it's supposed to. I'm gonna let it run for a few minutes while I get set up for the brake work in the back. Alright, I'm at the right rear of the car. I've got my parts laid out. That Ziploc bag has enough parts for both rear wheels. That's from Lincoln Land. Those brake shoes are from Bosch. Bought them on, I don't remember right now. I think it was Rock Auto. Then I got my new tools, which I know I bought on Rock Auto. I've used all of these except for this one. This one's kind of cool. This is going to help me with my parking brake cable, allegedly. It's always been hard to get that thing on, so this little tool should make it easy if it works as advertised. So I'm looking forward to trying that out. So basically, I'm just going to put all this back together. I took some photographs ahead of time before I took them apart to help me, and I should get my shop manual too, but it's not that hard. I'll start by, I believe, putting this parking brake lever on first. This little nylon washer is the one that nobody can seem to find. It's paper thin. I think what I'm going to end up doing on the other side is just using some wheel bearing grease or something. I have a feeling that the only purpose of this washer was kind of an anti-seize. Maybe, I don't know really what the purpose was, but I don't remember seeing this on other Lincolns that I've worked on before, but I could have missed it. John said he did have the little thin washer that goes on the adjuster, but I did find a suitable substitute for that, so I'm not waiting on that. So we'll see how I do with this. Looks like I did a better job of just using my shop manual instead of any pictures I might have taken. So the front of the car is facing that way, and that shows that the leading edge of the car has the one with the smaller amount of shoe on it, on that shoe. And that's the one that goes there. So I've started that process. This is the one that has less meat on the shoe, as you can see the difference between these two right there. So that's the way it matches up. And then I've got my new hold down spring in there, which is consists of these three pieces facing like that on the little shaft, and then using my cool little tool. So not too bad. That's the first step. So that's the parking brake link, which is the next thing I'm going to put on. It goes like this, according to the shop manual. And what I don't remember, and what I can't tell from the shop manual, is exactly which way this blue spring fits. This is a new spring, but it could fit one of four ways. I don't know where this little loop goes, if it goes that way, if it goes underneath, or what. So I'm going to have to fiddle with that and see if there's an obvious, something obvious about the way it goes in that might help me. So at this point, I'm just kind of guessing. All right, with a little trial and error, I decided the best way to put that spring on is the way you see it now. That little loop down there seems to fit naturally against that part of the brake shoe. Seems to work best in that position. I don't even know how important that is, but that's the way I'm going to use it. I'm not sure I've ever actually put it on that way before, so I could be completely wrong. We'll see what it looks like when I get it all together. I may change it around again. The other thing I read in the manual when I was looking about that spring is that they say you should put some wheel bearing or high temperature grease at these rubbing points. So I did that on the backing plate where the brake shoes rub against. I also did it with this one. So now, I'm putting the parking lever on the leading shoe now. And you can see where that nylon washer rubs up against the shoe. Again, I don't think it's critical, so I'm not too worried about that on the other side. I'm just going to put some wheel bearing grease in that little spot too, I think, just a dab. I think that'll be good enough. So that's what I'm working on next, attaching that lever to the leading shoe. Okay, sorry for the confusion. That's the trailing shoe, not the leading shoe, the trailing shoe. I was just looking through my bag of goodies here, and I found this spring washer here. This is what I'm used to seeing, and I think if I'm not mistaken, that's what actually goes on the other side of this parking brake assembly. I'm not sure. I'm going to fiddle around with that, see if I can find a reference to it, but I'm pretty sure that's part of the parking brake lever thing. All right, according to my shop manual, that spring washer goes on this side of the parking brake lever, and then you slide the clip over the top of it. That little spring washer was not on the old brakes when I took them apart. I don't think I would have lost both of them on both sides. So, and it definitely does not fit over the shaft on the other side. So this is where it goes, and that's where I'm putting it. So these new little clips that came in the kit were just a little bit smaller than the original one. So I went back to the original one so I could spread it apart enough to get it on there. So now it's locked in place with the spring washer. So it's good and tight, works nicely. So now I can install this, or maybe put the parking brake cable on the end of that. All right, I'm trying out this new parking brake cable tool, which I've never owned before. It's kind of cool. It's still a little tricky because you still have to push that spring back on the cable in order to get this thing engaged. You can see it's engaged now. When you squeeze it, it spreads it apart, gives you a nice showing of cable there. And with that, and there you have it. It actually did help a lot. That was much easier than I've ever done that job before. All right, this is what it's looking like so far. Front and rear shoes are now attached. The parking brake cable is attached to the lever. The spinning lever is in there. So now I think, well, we'll see what the book says to do next, or I'll just figure it out. Springs are going to come soon, but I've also got some of this other stuff to put on there as well. All right, I've just installed the anti-rattle clip and what are these other things called? Anti-rattle clip and anchor pin plate. I'm not sure what all the proper terms are, but anyway, well, I was pointing out that this cable here, they say in the shop manual that the crimp side is facing that way toward the backing plate. So I'm just illustrating that. So now the cable guide is in place right there. Of course, the spring, once it gets on there, will hold that in place. It's just loose right now, and that's there, and that's hanging down loose right now. There are 4 of those pretty fuchsia springs, 2 for each side. They're identical, so no problem there. That blue one goes on the bottom. So the book is telling me to install those springs now, so that's what I'm going to work on. All right, my first spring is installed. I was able to use my tool pretty easily just by kind of hanging on back here, and it worked. I was on the phone with my son too, and I was doing all that, and I managed not to kill myself. So the first spring is on. Now I'm going to do the leading spring the same way. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I loosened the bleeder screw on the wheel cylinder just to allow any fluid or whatever that might be making it hard to compress this while I'm doing the brakes with the springs and everything. I just have to remember to tighten it back up when I'm done. All right, this time I used a different part of the tool to slide it over like a screwdriver. That worked out pretty well. So now I've got the 2 top springs installed. And according to the shop manual, I'm supposed to put high temperature grease on these fittings on the brake adjuster. So I'm going to put a thin layer for my grease gun on there before I put it in the adjusting sleeve there. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to curtail my activities for the day, end them. It's getting too cold and my back is starting to kill me again. The hardest part is yet to come. This bottom spring, trying to get that hooked into that adjuster up there, that's like impossible. That's so hard to do. I think what I might have done is used a locking pair of needle nose pliers and kind of forced it that way. I think another method I've used in the past is actually doing the bottom spring first and then the top ones. But I can't lay on my back right now. It's hurting too much. So I'm just going to wrap up the day, button up the car, get ready for the snow tonight. And I'll see you in a couple days, I hope. Take care.